The title of our panel then, and I appreciate so much what everyone has said, Max Heller, the father of Modern Greenville. That really says it all about my part. I'm to talk about Greenville and the South Carolina and whatever that Max has impacted. And he was literally the father of Modern Greenville. Greenville, before Max Heller, was really kind of a sleepy mill town, segregated in many, many ways. Max sold his successful business, as many of you know, Maxon Shirt Company in 1962, and then went on to devote his life to community service, as was said. None of us really realized how important that was for Greenville and for South Carolina at the time. But when he made that commitment, it was the beginning of the change of things for a renaissance in this region, and that's what got it started, his commitment, supported by his loyal wife. Now, I've made a lot of speeches and referred to Max a lot of times. Many of you have heard me in various speeches. I used to say he didn't have anything when he came to Greenville. He ended up, of course, a textile great leader. That he really had 40 cents in his pocket when he first went out with his host family. Then Max, with a twinkle in his eye, would say, "Dick, it was $1.40. And I said, well, it's the same story, basically. Susan had that in her article, which I was glad to get corrected. So anyhow, it was $1.40. So we go into history with that amount. Max was elected to the Greenville City Council in 1968. Then in 71, he was elected mayor. And I would point out it was with strong bipartisan support. And we had lots going on then. We always have. Francie discussed that somewhat, but he had strong bipartisan support and always did. And that was something that helped Greenville grow. The original focus of his entire service on city council and mayor was very clear. He wanted to bring all of our people together. He believed in one Greenville, and he wanted to do his part as the mayor of the city to make it that way. Everybody treated equally, everybody involved with each other and listening to each other and supporting each other. That was Max Heller's One Greenville. In his first action, he desegregated the city's departments and the commissions of the city. Any of you that are into politics, and I know some of you are, that's not easy. He did that. That was his first, that was a statement to the people here, leading our city to then a peaceful desegregation. He later created the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, and many of you here know about that. It's an annual coming together open to all people of all faiths, and he makes that very clear, and it really is a very successful event. He and Trudy led our city in so many ways, but notably a true revitalization of downtown. It has given us national recognition. People come to Greenville all the time just to see Greenville in the main street, and I think we're going to have a tour there for some of us after this is over. He had many friends, and many of you are in that category, probably all of you. But I'll tell you, Trudy was his true partner, as was said. That was very clear. They were a team. It was Max and Trudy. Had the same hopes, both of them did. The wonderful family support for his beloved city. But revitalization was the focus of his service. Now, Max led in the development of our beautiful downtown, the Heritage Green, the downtown place downtown. That was new. Everybody was going outside of town for shopping centers or whatever, but this was pulling things back downtown. Hughes County Library, the Little Theater, County Museum of Art, Children's Museum, Upstate History Museum. These things are right there in this beautiful heritage green, and those of you that go downtown will see that in downtown, all giving strength to downtown. Main Street was converted from a 4-lane thoroughfare for cars to a 2-lane street lined with trees and wide sidewalks for people. He shifted from cars to people. And that's one of the things that really made Greenville so noticeable and so loved. And when you walk down Main Street, you'll have a real good feel for that. And talking about Austria or Europe or whatever, it has a real European look to it. And I think that's part of Max Heller's contribution also. And he and I and Trudy and Tucky, my late wife, we walked the streets of Paris and Stuttgart and Tokyo and everywhere else, and it really, Greenville has that kind of European look. And those of you that have moved around know that. Max involved a lot of his friends, and you can name 50 of them, but you think about Mickle and Tommy White, David Freeman, people who were very close using his urban renewal legal services. Then they brought in the Hyatt Regency, the convention center there, the Daniel Building on the north end, the south end, then had the new Greenville News Building, and then the Peace Center, and now on down to the beautiful Falls Park. The same day that when he ran for Congress, and Francie mentioned that, and I'm glad she did, that's very important in Max's life. He was clearly way ahead. Again, really getting bipartisan support. And then all of a sudden he went down. And she alluded to that, and it was a very tragic time, and you see so much of that now, and you wonder where we're going with all that, but all of us need to turn all that negative stuff around. But he was defeated then in a very bitter and unfortunate campaign. And it bothered us all. The same day he was defeated, I was elected governor. The very next day, the first move I made as governor was to appoint Max Heller to the highest appointed position in the state. At that time, even higher than it is now, it was the word, who is going to be the chair of the State Development Board? And that was a big deal. And I called Max up the next day, after his defeat and my victory, and he said, let me talk it over with Trudy. He knew that it would be something that we would have to make major changes, a lot out of Columbia, the capital, a lot of traveling or whatever, and Trudy had to be certainly with him and part of that decision. We talked the next day, and he told me that he and Trudy had decided that he would accept the appointment. And I'll tell you, under his leadership, those were record years in the development of this great state, in new investment and better investment and additional investment in the state. I was so honored to be with him and Trudy during that time. Max's leadership of Greenville and of South Carolina. Remember South Carolina, we're here talking primarily about mayor and the city of Greenville, but it grew into a leader, and a lot of you here from Charleston and Columbia. He was a leader there too. He was into urban planning, and that was important to him. And that included an awful lot of good people helping do all that planning throughout the state. But what he meant to Greenville and to our state involved a lot more than urban planning. He had a vision for Greenville and a vision for our state, and he thoughtfully took the action, always with some risk. He didn't back off on risk. Thoughtfully always, he moved forward with action to get the job done. And I close my little remarks here with a quote of William Blake. I read in a magazine recently. He was a British poet and writer in the early 1800s. And he said these lines, is credited with them. Vision, think of Max Heller and his vision. Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision is a waste of time. Vision with action can change the world, or it can change a city, or it can change a state. And our beloved friend Max Heller had vision. He took the action to bring people together, all people, to accomplish his vision. And he changed our community and he changed our state. And he is indeed, in terms of Greenville, he is the father of modern Greenville. Thank you.